answers. Let's watch.
One power. So join me in knowing this. I am the power. Together? I am the power. One more time. I am the power. Yes, that's the truth we're learning to grow into, isn't it? And every time I hear the word difference, I change it to distinct. We are distinct from one another in our humanity. In our divinity, we are identical. What an amazing truth. And in one way, we are here today and every day to learn the truth about ourselves. The truth about ourselves. So, as often happens in ministry, we can plan what our lesson's going to be, which changes our trajectory for the day. But sometimes, like today, the lesson I'm going to share with you is perfect for what's happening in the world. So are you ready to take a metaphysical romp? Yeah. You know, that's what you do with me. That's what oozes out of me. If you don't want it, you get it anyway, you know? So this presentation is all about common questions and uncommon answers. So let's go. First of all, IMO. Many of you know what that means. In my opinion. Whenever I'm here sharing with you, this is all in my opinion. And guess what? You get to have your own. So I'm hoping you'll listen. I'm hoping you'll understand. And ultimately, I'm hoping you will bring it home and land it. So Jesus said, let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. You've heard that before, right? Right? But in the Gospel of Thomas, it goes on to say, when we find, we will become troubled. What? I'm not here to be troubled. Next. When we become troubled, we become astonished. And we will rule over all. Are you ready to get astonished? Boy, I sure am. And this twist on what we find in the scriptures is so important. And what science is telling us, it's when we are troubled, it's when we make a mistake and identify it overnight, our brain goes about rewiring itself. The little minions come out and click here and click there and get the brooms out so that the next time we have less possibility of repeating that mistake. Isn't that amazing? It thrills me. It brings me back to the 8 years I was trying to play the organ and get arms and like the drummer. There you are. Still amazes me. But then I didn't know the errors were going to help me the next day. So think about that the next time you have an error. We often say that the word God is synonymous with love, and we certainly have heard that this morning. Because God is all there is. Now, if you add any exclusions after that, you miss what became for it, okay? Love must be all there is. So I'm going to fill in some detail this morning. Because after we say that, we say, but in a world filled with war, violence, and division, it's challenging to see the God, to see the love. The love that resides behind darkness. The love that resides behind everything. And it's not only residing behind, it's interpenetrating. It's everywhere present. One of Unity greats once said, his name is Eric Butterworth, by the way, God is spirit, present in its entirety, at every point in space, at the same time. So today we say there's no spot where God is not, don't we? But how easy we forget that. When we see differences rather than distinctions. So, what are the common questions? Boy, I know I've said some of these. Next. Why do bad things happen to good people? Yes? Yes? But have you ever thought, why do good things happen to bad people? Yeah, right? You know, the spiritual journey is all about questioning unquestioned answers. It's all about questioning our current active assumptions. Here's another one. If God is love, why doesn't God intervene in war, violence, and division? Have you thought about that one? Yeah. If God is all powerful, why doesn't God stop war, violence, and division? Yes, I've thought that. And finally, next. Maybe God's busy. Maybe there's free will. Maybe that God I understood in the past got it all up and running and let it go. Or takes a smoke break or a coffee break or something. Right? I mean, yeah. And it's important we laugh at ourselves, isn't it? Sometimes we take ourselves too seriously. So look at those for a moment. Can you identify with any of them? And now let's see if we can shift our understanding. Next. Despite the teachings of many new thought traditions, we still anthropomorphize God. We still make God in our image in a way. And we think of God as a concierge, a provider, a rewarder, a punisher, as Santa Claus, and offers grace. So think about this. When was the last time, at the very moment you wanted to lash out to somebody, you paused and remembered love and offered them a moment of grace. What about the very moment you had your inner critic going, you paused and remembered what you really are is love and offered yourself a huge helping of grace? Often it's easier to offer grace to the other and not to ourselves. Next slide. So here are some of my understandings that lead to uncommon answers. So fasten your seatbelts. Okay. Be prepared to be troubled. Why? Because it's a good thing. You might walk out of here astonished this morning and maybe say, why didn't I think of that? Okay, here we go. What if God is all, if God is everything that does not change? What if God is principle and law, utterly dependable, utterly reliable? And what if God has no agency? That was the hardest one for me to swallow, and ultimately the easiest to understand. What if whatever this is we call God does not have the capacity to take action? It's like, oops. Though, even so, next slide, God is love. We make divine love into loving. Do you hear that? God is this principle that is everywhere present, that doesn't change, that we call love. You and I have the privilege to convert that into being loving. So love fundamentally is our ability to desire, harmonize, unify, attract oneself to, and have an affinity for something. When I say I desire chocolate or I love chocolate, I have affinity for it. And does my thinking of it bring it to me? No, my thinking of it brings me to it, where I stash it away in my closet. Because the easy to find chocolate was gone. Have you done that? Yeah. So love is our ability to desire. Think about that a moment. God said, or I should say, Scripture says, Jesus said, love your neighbor. Desire your neighbor. You feel the distinction there? Love your enemy. Desire your enemy. Does it feel different to hear it that way? So, in an unpublished work by Charles Fillmore, we have this. If you can conceive that all that mind, all that love is right at hand for your use, all that love, that principle is totally at the point of view. You don't have to go find the principle. It's here. And then from that, all ideas in divine mind, all principles can be grasped and used by you. Every last one of them. But you have to be aware of them to use them consciously. I'll say that again. You have to be aware of them to use them consciously. If you're not aware of what they are, you're going to use them unconsciously, which means sometimes you'll hit the mark and sometimes you'll have an error. So, we already have all the power there is. Did you hear that? You already have all the power there is. All the principle of power there is. You can't get more by being a good little boy or little girl, and you can't have less. Wow. This God we call love, this God we call principle, is totally present at the point of view. And you did not inherit it. It is inherent. It is innate. We just have to discover it. We have had the power to demonstrate disease in the very knowledge of omnipresent health. We have had the power to demonstrate poverty in the presence of inexhaustible substance. In the very presence, and even the knowledge of the principle of abundance. Wow. The principles of health and wholeness and life are totally present at the point of view, and in the midst of it, we can demonstrate illness. And this has brought about by the formulated thoughts or decrees of the thinking self. I would say of your thinking and feeling nature. You make the choices, you make the decisions, and you use these any way you want. Because you are the thing itself, in the words of Ernest Holmes. This is one of the most earth-shaking quotes I ever found from Charles Fillmore. And I've probably shared this in previous lessons with you. There is but one power. We use it as we will. You use it as you will. If we send it out by our thought and word in hate, it destroys. That's what happened yesterday. But if we send it out in love, it builds, it connects, it unifies, it harmonizes. But you have to desire it first. Next, please. So Charles said, there are not two powers, but two ways of using power. There are not multiple powers. There are multiple ways to use the one power. How are you using it? So, next slide. So here we have a cake. And what does it take to make the cake? By the way, Ken made an amazing cake this last week for his daughter's 9th birthday. So in order to make the cake, you got to have the ingredients, you got to have a recipe, and you got to have a consciousness. You got to have a person to put that recipe together to make a beautiful cake, right? You following me? Okay, all right. Because we're bringing this puppy home, okay? All right. Whoops, let's go back one. Take it back one, please. Heaven on earth. What is the cake that you're making called your life today? And how are you making it? In the invisible world of your consciousness, in the invisible world of principles and laws, you are taking the ingredients, the principles and laws, which are all in the closet of your mind. Take that any way you want. But you have at the point of view all the ingredients and the laws, all the parts of the recipe to bake the best cake of your life in your life. This is what this teaching is all about. When we say there is only one power and one presence, we mean it. But at the point of view, you can use that power any way you want. Remember, you want to send it out in love because it builds. Okay? So that's the answer, folks. You see, all those common questions were in the wrong context. As you go out the doors today, even before you get out there, remember, you are using God. You are using love. You are using principles and laws for every last thing you manifest and demonstrate. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And boy, we are seeing a lot of ugly in the world today. So please be part of the team that's not manifesting that. That's demonstrating love. So now, let us take a moment. Not take it. Let's invest some time in meditation.